What's up, Steelers Nation? You already know what time it is. Our Pittsburgh Steelers are on a mission, working day and night to sharpen every part of this team so that we can bring back that winning tradition and push deep into the playoffs. In 2025, the front office has been aggressive. Coach Mike Tomlin is locked in, and the players are grinding. But as always in football, the road to success is never smooth. Before I dive into today's huge story about Cameron, Hayward's contract dispute and how it could impact this team, along with some very interesting updates on rookie running back Caleb Johnson, I've got to ask one thing. Hit that like button right now. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single Steelers update this season. Trust me, this is one story you'll want to follow closely. Let's start with the big one, Cam Hayward. Steelers fans, you don't need me to tell you this man has been the heart and soul of our defense for over a decade. A leader in the locker room, a warrior in the trenches, and a player who defines what it means to wear the black and gold. But right now, Hayward is in a contract standoff with the Steelers. He believes he deserves more money, more guaranteed money specifically, based on the outstanding year he had in 2024. And let's be honest, he did ball out last season. Despite his age, Hayward continued to dominate, proving he's still one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. Here's the catch. He signed a new 3-year deal just before last season, and now, after only 1 year, he wants to reopen the discussion. That's where things get sticky. Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette spoke about this on 93.7 The Fans Pomp and Joe Show. His take: the Steelers aren't going to give in easily. Fittipaldo signed that deal last year. The team has very little incentive to rip it up and start fresh. In his words, he signed a 3-year contract. He wants to come back after 1 year and redo the deal or get more money guaranteed to him when he could have just signed a 1-year deal. That's a fair point. The Steelers pride themselves on being disciplined with contracts. They don't set precedents that could come back to bite them later. If they give Hayward a new deal after 1 year, suddenly every player might want to renegotiate early if they outperform expectations. So where does this leave us? According to Fittipaldo, the Steelers might slightly sweeten the pot. Maybe advance a roster bonus from next year, maybe tweak the structure just a little, but a brand new contract. That's not happening. What that means is simple. Unless Hayward decides to report, we're likely in for a stalemate. And here's the tricky part. The Steelers need him. This defense isn't the same without Cam Hayward setting the tone up front. Sooner or later, something's got to give, and this is where I turn it over to you, Steelers Nation. On one hand, Hayward has given everything to this franchise. He's a future Hall of Famer, no doubt. If anyone deserves respect and loyalty, it's him. On the other hand, business is business. The Steelers can't just throw out contracts after 1 year, or they'll lose their leverage with every other player. So do you pay him now and reward loyalty, or do you hold firm, knowing the precedent it sets? That's the debate raging not just in Pittsburgh, but across the NFL media landscape. Now, let's flip to the offensive side of the ball. Because while the Hayward saga is dominating headlines, another story is brewing in training camp. Rookie running back Caleb Johnson's rocky start. The Steelers drafted Johnson in the 3rd round this year out of Iowa. If you watched him in college, you know this guy was a workhorse. Iowa barely passed the ball, and defenses stacked the box every single week, yet Johnson still found ways to produce. He's physical, he's tough, and the Steelers loved his ability to grind out yards. But here's the problem. The NFL is a different beast so far in camp and the preseason. Johnson has struggled to adjust to the speed of the game. His decision-making at the line of scrimmage has been slow. And in the NFL, you don't get that extra split second you had in college. Hesitation equals negative plays. Pass protection. Another issue, picking up blitzes, reading exotic NFL defenses. It's been a steep learning curve. And, as Ray Fittipaldo pointed out, the coaching staff simply doesn't trust him yet. His exact words: there's no way the Steelers are going to trust Caleb Johnson to pass protect or catch the ball out of the backfield. That's a harsh assessment, but one that seems accurate given what we've seen so far. Johnson's first preseason action came against the Jacksonville Jaguars. 8 carries, 20 yards. That's just 2.5 yards per carry. It wasn't a disaster, but it certainly wasn't the kind of performance that makes coaches sit up and take notice. Mike Tomlin even addressed it afterward. basically saying Johnson needs to trust himself more and stop overthinking. That's classic rookie syndrome, trying so hard to be perfect that you forget to just play your game. Let's remember, Warren is locked in as RB1. The guy is a workhorse, reliable in every phase. Behind him, Kenneth Gainwell has been looking sharp in camp and could carve out a significant role. That means Johnson is battling for RB3 snaps at best right now. The Steelers didn't draft him to be buried on the depth chart, though. They see him as a future contributor. But for him to earn that role, he has to improve in pass protection and decision-making. Otherwise, Tomlin and the staff simply won't put him on the field. For weeks, one of the biggest names floating around, the NFL rumor mill, has been Washington Commanders All-Pro wide receiver Terry McLaurin. The 29-year-old star is one of the most consistent and reliable wideouts in the league. But his situation in Washington has been clouded by injury concerns and ongoing contract talks. When training camp opened, McLaurin was placed on the physically unable to perform list. That move immediately sent shockwaves across the NFL, raising doubts about whether he would be available at all for the start of the season. Steelers fans watching closely saw an opening. Maybe Pittsburgh could swoop in and make a bold move. Now, the situation has shifted. Washington officially announced that McLaurin has been activated from the PUP list. He's back with the team, eligible to practice, and in theory, ready to get on the field. But this is a huge but, there's still the contract situation. McLaurin wants a new deal, reportedly in the neighborhood of $30 million per year. That's elite wide receiver money, and the Commanders know it. Until something gets done, it's very possible that while McLaurin is technically off the PUP list, he still doesn't actually participate in practices. To add even more intrigue, Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury spoke out about McLaurin's absence from the field. Kingsbury didn't hold back, he said. He believes it's time for McLaurin to get on the field. With the offense, instead of just attending meetings or standing on the sideline, I don't know exactly how. Much of that we can continue to do, Kingsbury admitted. I think we're kind of at that point where we need to start getting those guys. When they're available, out there and gelling to see where we are as an offense, that's a strong statement. Reading between the lines, it sounds like Washington is frustrated. They want their star wideout with the new look offense, but the contract standoff is preventing it. For the Steelers, this is exactly the type of situation Omar Khan has been willing to pounce on in the past. Now let's bring this back to Pittsburgh. Steelers insider Mark Kaboly has been hinting for weeks that the front office could be preparing a move at wide receiver. Just recently, Kaboly went on record saying that within the next 10 to 12 days, he expects something to happen. I'll put it this way, Kaboly said. I would not be shocked within the next 10 to 12 days that they add a receiver. I was under the impression that they were just going to play it out like they are right now. We have Roman Wilson. We have Calvin Austin. We're going with that. I was pretty much sure of that. I don't know if I'm as sure of that anymore. That's a major change in tone. A few weeks ago, most people believed Pittsburgh would roll into the season with DK Metcalf locked in as their WR1, rookie Roman Wilson developing into a reliable piece, and Calvin Austin serving as the gadget and speed option. But with Austin's injury, things feel different. Suddenly, adding a proven WR2 isn't just a luxury, it might be a necessity. And if you're looking at the market, the biggest and most obvious name out there is Terry McLaurin. So let's talk about what this would actually look like. McLaurin is 29 years old and still very much in his prime. He's a route technician with reliable hands, a proven leader, and someone who has produced at a high level despite playing with a revolving door of quarterbacks in Washington. Now imagine pairing him with DK Metcalf. You'd have Metcalf as the physical deep ball monster on one side, McLaurin as the precise, sure-handed playmaker on the other. Roman Wilson could develop in the slot. Jaylen Warren provides a safety valve out of the backfield, and Pat Freiermuth continues to be a weapon up the seam. Suddenly, you're talking about one of the most dangerous and versatile skill groups in the NFL. For Aaron Rodgers or whoever lines up at quarterback, this would be a dream scenario. Of course, there's always the financial side. McLaurin reportedly wants $30 million per year. The Steelers have already committed to DK Metcalf on a 5-year, $150 million deal. Could they really afford another massive wide receiver contract? Well, Here's where it gets interesting. Omar Khan has shown time and time again that he's one of the most creative cap managers in football. If the Steelers believe McLaurin can push them over the top as legitimate contenders, don't rule out Khan finding a way to make the numbers work. Remember, this is the same front office that pulled off the blockbuster trade for Yolan Ramsey earlier this offseason. They've been more aggressive than usual, signaling that the old conservative Steelers approach might be evolving into something new. Timing is everything. McLaurin coming off the PUP list gives the Commanders some leverage, but it also gives the Steelers an opportunity. Washington might want to avoid a full-blown standoff with their star wideout. If they're not willing to meet his contract demands, they could at least listen to offers, and with Kabali hinting at a move in the next 2 weeks, all the puzzle pieces are starting to align. So here we are, Steelers Nation. On one side, you've got a defensive legend in Cam Hayward locked in a contract battle that feels like a chess match between loyalty and business. On the other, you've got a rookie running back trying to find his footing and prove he belongs. In the NFL, both situations are different, but they highlight the same thing. Nothing in the NFL is guaranteed. Whether you're a 12-year veteran or a third-round rookie, you've got to prove yourself every single day. So I'll end it with this. What do you think? Should the Steelers cave and give Cam Hayward more guaranteed money, even if it means setting a new precedent? Or should they hold the line and wait for him to come back? And on the offensive side, do you still believe Caleb Johnson can be a factor this season? Or is he destined for a slow rookie year behind Warren and Gainwell? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing what Steelers Nation has to say. And you all always bring the passion. And hey, if you made it this far, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We've got a lot more coming as we head into the 2025 season. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Steelers Nation, stay locked in. The road to greatness is never easy, but that's what makes it worth it. Here we go.